PSG win the Champions League for the first time in their history. And that team is the best team in the world. 5-0 demolition job of Inter Milan. They weren't playing no games. One of the most one-sided finals you will ever see. You will ever see. Completely dismantled that Inter Milan team. And I tell you what, yeah, that PSG team are an absolute joy to watch. Joy to watch. Joy to watch. On the front foot, always trying to win the ball back, trying to score goals, trying to entertain, working hard. Luis Enrique, mate. Luis Enrique, goated manager. He wins the treble this season with PSG. He's already done the treble with Barcelona as well. And with everything he's been through in his personal life, losing his young daughter so early in her life, and to come through that adversity and to achieve this, you got to take your hats off to them. And you got to take your hats off to PSG, the establishment, because how many times do they get accused of bottling it? You know, they're just a team of superstars, the Harlem Globetrotters, the Galacticos, and they stuck with a manager. They changed what they were doing, and it's worked. Let's get into these individuals, because let me tell you now, Doue. Oh my God, this kid, Lamine Yamal, yes, 100% global superstar already. This kid is special. But this kid was also very special in Desiree Doue. 19 years of age, cooked in the final, absolutely cooked in the final. 2 goals, and his performance was absolutely flawless. Some of the tricks he was pulling off, the pace on him, the finish that he had, different level. Kvaratskhelia, what a footballer. Left foot, right foot. Scored a great goal with his left foot to send someone the wrong way. But even in general, just an absolute live wire throughout all of the rounds. And this guy's arrived there in January from Napoli. What a signing he's been, and what a superstar he is as well. I'm going to take another player as well, Vitinha. Forget it. Disgusting midfielder. Beautiful midfielder. Plays football just exactly how I want it to be played. Can take the ball, can move nice with it, can pop it into the half spaces, can play in the half turn, can pass with either foot. The weight of pass for the Doue goal was just perfect. You know, always pressing, always trying to win the ball back, always wanting to pass forward. Can give him the ball in any shape, size, velocity, like anything. What do you want? Beautiful footballer. Oh my days. Loved it. And you know what about this PSG team? What really makes it something is that they play football in the right way. I know there's no, you can say there's no right or wrong way to play the game. You know, we saw 2 teams tonight with 2 completely contrasting styles. The way Inter Milan play the game is not necessarily wrong, but if we're all honest with ourselves, the way that PSG team plays is poetry in motion. They are relentless. They don't give you a minute, and they're so set in their identity. They play exactly the same way. They played like that against Arsenal. They played like that against Villa. They played like that against Man City in the league phase. They played like that against Liverpool. Look at and the run they've had to the final as well as this young team getting it over the line. You know, I think Owen was saying they finished 15th in the league table. They had to win the last 3 games in a row. And that started, I think, from City, who went to the Parc des Princes, and they were 2-0 down. And they stuck it all over City, and they never looked back since then. You know, they beat Liverpool over 2 legs. They should have beat them in the first leg, about 6 or 7-0, but they got sucker punched. But they managed to go to Anfield and do the unthinkable and win there on penalties. They then go on to Aston Villa, who, listen, Aston Villa probably gave them the closest game out of everyone, and nearly came back. But, you know, they dealt with them in a different way and was defensively solid, rode their luck, but they did it. Then it's Arsenal. And, you know, that first 20 minutes at the Emirates, that first 20 minutes when they schooled Arsenal didn't look like Arsenal looked like Chris Tucker in Rush Hour when they kick him in the face and it was so fast. He's like, which one of y'all just kicked me? Which one of y'all just kicked me? Who did that? One of them. That's what they did to Arsenal in the first 20 minutes. You know, got the 1-0, took it back to the Parc des Princes, and then they opened up Arsenal as well and did the job. And then this was the easiest of the lot. 5-0. Total dominance, total football. And you know what? They're a joy to watch. And how good could they go on to be? I haven't even spoken about Dembele. What a player. He didn't even score today. Didn't even get in on the action. But wow, the touches, the intelligence, the pressing, you know, and he got them on their way against Arsenal as well, scored a fantastic goal from the edge of the box. Like, they just tick every box. And PSG, like I said, they hit the stop button and said, we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this anymore. We're not operating like this anymore. We need to fix up. We need to change. This Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi thing isn't working. These constant superstars, this high turnover of superstars. And listen, they've had some really good servants, but I just think of some of the players that they've gone through, Cavani and Zlatan and players like this. You know, top players, and they've just not been able to do this. All the managers they've gone through, Thomas Tuchel, Unai Emery, what's his face? Tottenham, Pochettino, got there in the end. Pochettino, you know, to name but a few. And they just kept chopping and changing. And finally they went, we're going to stick with a manager. And we're going to allow him to do what he wants. We're going to allow him to rip this team up and do what he wants with it and trust in this manager. With youth, with players that got a point to prove. Yes, they're still rich and they've bought a lot of players. You know, Kvaratskhelia was like 60 odd million. That's a lot of money, but it's a bargain for him. It's a bargain for how good he is. But to turn it around with them players and to instill them principles, and it hasn't been plain sailing. You know, I know December was a big month for PSG and a real turnaround. They hadn't been as good as this. You know, in December or near around then, I remember when they played Arsenal in the league phase, lost, I think 2-0, I think it was. Didn't lay a glove on Arsenal. You know, you had Dembele falling out with Enrique, etc. You know, fast forward back to that first leg of the semi-final and look at the patchwork then that had been done. It's all Luis Enrique, and he is goated, absolutely goated. Top manager, man. We're witnessing greatness. PSG, by far the best team in the world. And you know what? It would have been great to see a PSG Barca final with those two styles, but Inter Milan played their part. And you know what? Inter Milan, you didn't even look at them having lost 5-0 in the final going, oh, what was that? You lot bottled it. You lot were terrible. You know what I mean? They didn't have a shot on target to the 71st minute when they were like 4-0 down by that point or 3-0 down. I can't even remember. But disaster for Inter Milan, elation for PSG, officially the best team in Europe. And they have been playing the best football. So I'm glad that football is the real winner today. Take your hats off to PSG. And they are your Champions League winners for the 24-25 season. Smash a like on the video, people. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'm out of here. Peace.